The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to provide an update on the wildfire situation in northeastern Alberta. Our hearts go out to the residents evacuated by the wildfires. Fort McMurray, Anzac, Gregoire Lake Estates, and Fort McMurray First Nation remain under mandatory evacuation orders. Our focus remains centred on ensuring the safety of people, that they're safely evacuated and that they receive the services that they need. There is some welcome news today, Mr. Speaker. There was no significant growth of the fire overnight. It currently stands at 162,000 hectares. Fire conditions remain extreme, although the weather is beginning to give us a reprieve. The current forecast indicates a high of 11 degrees Celsius today, 40% humidity. Winds will remain a factor at 20 kilometers per hour toward the northwest, gusting up to 40 kilometers per hour. Heavy smoke remains a concern, and we are monitoring air quality closely to ensure our first responders are safe. There are more than 500 firefighters bravely battling the blaze, along with 20 helicopters, 15 air tankers, and many pieces of heavy equipment. All evacuees are urged to register with Red Cross, no matter where you are. Please visit redcross.ca to register if you haven't already. As of this morning, approximately 40,000 households have registered with Red Cross. This will ensure that evacuees have access to the assistance that they need. There are currently 12 reception centres open within Alberta. As always, the best place to go for the most up-to-date information is emergency.alberta.ca. As you know, the Premier, Minister of Municipal Affairs, and Mayor Melissa Blake are in Fort McMurray today to inspect the damage and meet with the emergency management experts on the ground. Some media will also have access supported by emergency services. Please note that it is still unsafe for anyone who is not a first responder to be inside the barricades. There will be some dramatic damage coming up this afternoon, and mental health supports are available for anyone who needs it. Coordinated damage assessments are happening today, and we are ensuring that vital emergency services and utilities are back online and operating safely as soon as possible. It's important to note that there is no date yet when residents can return, but it will not be in the coming days. There will be a great deal of work to be done to make sure that our city is safe for the health of the people to live in it again. Emergency services are working around the clock to begin the work needed to make the city safe again, but it will take time. And I understand that this is difficult to hear, but the safety of the Fort McMurray residents must remain our top priority. The response to this massive wildfire from Albertans and Canadians has been incredible. The generosity continues to pour into the Red Cross with donations of $54 million so far. The Premier will meet with industry leaders tomorrow, and we are in daily communication with industry throughout the Provincial Operations Centre. They have played an integral role in our emergency response efforts so far, especially with their assistance in housing and evacuating thousands of people who fled to the north of Fort McMurray. We've already begun operations about what will be required to revamp their operations and get them back up. Government of Alberta ministries are supporting emergency response efforts to address needs of evacuated residents in a number of ways. Cabinet has authorized $200 million in immediate disaster recovery program funding, and we will revise this number as needed. Our government will provide emergency financial assistance for evacuees in the form of preloaded debit cards. Adults will receive $1,250 and another $500 for every dependent. We are working hard to begin distributing the assistance, hopefully mid this week. Due to the scale of the logistics of this issue, we will be asking people who are not in immediate need, who do not need to claim these funds right away, to please hold off, and this will allow us to ensure that those who need it most can have it first. We will be releasing further details on how these cards will be distributed when that becomes available. We will be hosting several town hall teleconference meetings over the next week to answer questions directly from the affected residents. These town hall events will be an opportunity to discuss the challenges facing our province and specifically the residents of Fort McMurray. We will be reaching out to evacuees to participate, and invitees will have a chance to ask questions throughout the call. There will be several town hall teleconference events, and I encourage every Fort McMurray resident to take advantage of the opportunities to listen and to participate. These calls will happen tonight, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings of this week. Evacuees should register with the Red Cross to ensure that they receive the details of these calls. If evacuees left behind documents such as driver's licenses or ID cards, new cards can be issued free of charge at a registry agent. Alberta Agriculture and Forestry continues to work closely with the RCMP, SPCA, and SPCA to address reports from evacuees asking for help with the pets that they had to leave behind when they fled so quickly. The SPCA has begun transporting pets to Edmonton, with about 200 arriving late yesterday. They will contact pet owners who have registered with them in the coming days. Alberta Health Services has mental health support staff at the evacuation reception centres in Lac-La-Biche, here at Northlands, SAIT, University of Calgary, Ambrose University in Calgary, St. Paul, and Suncor Firebag site north of Fort McMurray. A government-wide wildfire recovery task force has been established to help with the recovery from this devastating wildfire. And Mr. Speaker, we know that this is a very difficult time for many Albertans, especially given that there are so many unknowns. I want to thank them all. I want to thank all of the first responders, everyone who has donated, and everyone who has offered to help the evacuees. We will continue to support you now and in the weeks and months ahead. And I know that the Premier will have further updates from the ground of Fort McMurray later this afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.